So welcome back to part 5 of this mini series on how I'm going to teach you to organize and optimize your life. If you're new here, this is part 5 of the series. So go back and watch part 1, 2, 3, and 4, which you can find up here, and then come to this video. So today we're actually talking about weekly reviews and why weekly reviews are so powerful. So far in this series, I taught you a lot of different things on how to set up your system, from your areas to your values, to your goals, to your projects, and then tasks, and then integrating it all in your daily tracker. There's one big missing piece to this whole system, and that is a feedback loop. Why does a feedback loop matter is because you want to actually look at every single week that you're spending time in your system and see what you captured. What did you do? When did you even do it? Did you stick to it? Did you not stick to it? And so on and so forth. And this feedback loop is something that a lot of systems out there are missing. This feedback loop is super important because your system will tell you automatically where you've gone wrong, and you can reflect and improve over time. So for example, in your daily tracker for the last week, you can see you've had multiple bad days. You can reflect on that and see why did you have bad days. And if you can improve it, then you improve it for the next week. Also, the weekly review is a great session to plan the week ahead. You just saw what you did, where you lacked, what you had problems with, and now you can look forward and plan better. So simply put, the point of the weekly review is to help you plan better over time. And I know a lot of people do monthly reviews or quarterly reviews or yearly reviews, but in my opinion, it's too hard to plan and too time consuming to sit through all this stuff that you did or captured the past month or even the quarter or the year. So we don't do that. We will focus on every single week, because if you remember from part 1, one of the principles of a good system is that it doesn't take away from you actually doing your work. And that's why the weekly reviews takes around 30 minutes to an hour for us. And it still gives us the best benefits that we can take from the whole system. This is really 80-20 principle in practice. So without further ado, let's get into it. So if you remember from last week, we actually talked about the daily routine. We created our daily routine, we created a template, and actually integrated our tasks and henceforth our projects and goals into our daily tracker. Now we know what to do and we know when to do it. But one missing piece from what I said last week was that we don't know when to come and create these daily routines, and that's actually what we do in our weekly reviews. If you go in the template that I also linked below, you can see that under the daily tracker section, there's a template of weekly reviews and a template for weekly habits. So the first thing that we're going to cover is actually the weekly reviews. So let's jump right into that page. As you see, it's nothing complicated. It's just one database and nothing else in there. Just like how we use the daily tracker to track our days, we use the weekly reviews to track our week. The point of the weekly review is to track what we have done in the previous week, to see how many habits we've completed, to see what we have captured in our knowledge base, and then reflect on it, adjust it, and put the things that we don't want into our archives, and create the days and the plan for the next week ahead. This way, every week we know what we have done before and we know what we're going to do in the next week. I actually don't like planning for a month or a year ahead because I just have no idea what's going to happen. But predicting what you need to do, or at least the type of days that you're going to have in the week that is going to come, based on just what you did in the previous week, is actually super easy. So the first things first is that this table also comes with a template already made for you. All we need to do is to create a new page and actually click on new week review. The template actually gives you a very simple step-by-step process to follow to do your weekly reviews, and it automatically already pulls all of the other databases that we need to look at and review so that we don't need to do anything else. The first thing that we need to do is to review how we spent our days, then review our habits, then review what we capture in our knowledge hub, which we haven't covered yet, and then review our tasks and what we've completed, and then plan the next week. So let's start with how we spent our days. If you actually look at this in the template, you won't be able to see anything because we don't have that many days and things populated in the template. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to teach you how to use the reviews from my own data so that we can actually engage with what is going to go in these databases a bit better. So for example, if you look at calendar week 31 of 2021, which is from August 2nd to August 8th of 2021, we can see that in that period, I had 7 days from Monday to Sunday of calendar week 31. If I look at step 1, reviewing how I spend my days, I can see that all the data for my daily routine has already been pulled here and filtered automatically for me based on the calendar week of 31. So I don't need to do anything more. All I need to do is to actually just answer a few questions, which is also already already in the template. I can look at my daily routine from the 2nd of August to the 8th of August, see my day ratings, see what type of days I had, and see my highlights or my thoughts on the day. And then I can answer, did I stick to my daily routine? I can answer, do you want to adjust the daily plan? Because over time, I want to see my daily routine and use this reviews as a feedback to improve my system, to see how my system can actually help me. Because using the same system from one person to another will just not work. Your life is very different to mine. So what you want to do is you want to be able to tell if you're using your system effectively or not by using these reviews as a feedback loop, and so on and so forth. So what you can do, you can actually add your own questions here as well and see what works for you in your weekly reviews. These are just the stuff that I put here because I usually spend only once a week around 30 minutes to do my weekly reviews, and I don't want it to be a big heavy lift task so that the overhead of my system is actually much lower. Next, I can look at my actual habits for that week. So again, as we can see for the weekly habits, we can see that from Monday to Sunday of calendar week 31, 2021 has already been pulled here for us. And I can see that exactly the habits I had, for example, fasting, going outside, exercising, brushing my teeth, and meditating. And then I can see how much of it did I actually complete. Also, I can see what percentage of my habits in that week I completed. So for example, I fasted 85% of the time, whereas I only meditated 14%. So clearly, I need to focus on meditating more and improving that habit over time. Also, similarly to step 1, we also have some questions here. Did you stick to the daily habits? I can, for example, reflect on what I see in this data and actually just write a few things about it. Nothing too complicated. So let's move on to what actually I captured in that week. We haven't covered this library and the knowledge hub yet, but we will very soon, and you will understand all the properties and everything that goes into it. But for now, the way we capture stuff in our library is different, and it's not directly related to our weekly reviews. So the first thing that we need to do is to first know what is the date period for our calendar week 31. For this case, it's from August 2nd to August 8th. Therefore, we come to this table and we actually filter it from August 2nd to August 8th. And that's as simple as just clicking here, choosing the correct date, and that's about it. So that you can only see what you have captured in that specific period of time. Similarly, then you can answer some questions, but I will cover this again when I actually cover our knowledge hub system. Next, step 4 is reviewing what I actually did. Exactly like how we just set the dates for our knowledge hub, we also have to do it here. So we just set it to the 2nd and the 8th of August. So we see everything that we have done from the 2nd of August to the 8th of August, which is calendar week 31. And that way we can see that in that specific week, we completed 18 tasks. We can see what we exactly did. Did we hit all of our goals of completing our shallow tasks and heavy lift tasks and deep tasks? And then we can reflect on it. And also we can see on what projects and what areas did we actually execute those tasks. So here at one glance, I can see that, for example, figuring out my goal with YouTube was one of the top projects that I actually worked on. The other one was more about home and productivity. And that's exactly what we will do when we reflect on it. So for example, what area did you spend most of your time on? Unesi, YouTube, which is 2 of my areas. What project did you spend most of your time on? Help Martin and Nicholas is another project. What do you want to focus on next week? It's these other projects. What do you rate your week from productivity from 1 to 10? I say, for example, 5 out of 10. Anyway, that's good enough. I can rate my week based on how much I did, and based on that, then I can improve next week. And that's exactly what we do next. Step 5 is planning the next week. And clearly you can see that the tasks database is again pulled there. And all I need to do is just come here, create new tasks, and go on. And everything that I create here, so for example, if I put this here, but it will also show up in my exact daily routine and in my tasks database because it's at the same database. So you see that it also shows up here. And that's really, really good because we can just do it with our weekly reviews. But the weekly reviews is actually super simple. It's a step-by-step process, and all the information that you need is already pulled there right in front of you for the previous week. So what I usually do this every Sunday at around 5 p.m. for 30 minutes. And that way I know it's at the end of my week. I can see every piece of information from my previous week and then plan my next week from Monday onwards so that I can know my tasks. I have all my days ready to go and so on and so forth. So I strongly recommend that you do this on Sundays. Also, usually Sundays, people don't have a lot of stuff to do. You're probably going to work or you're just relaxing. And this is something that doesn't take too much time. And for me, in fact, it gives me a great sense of clarity as to how I actually spent my last week and gives me immediate feedback about my next week. Should I improve on some areas? Should I capture more? Should I actually do more tasks? Should I focus on a specific project or not? Should I focus on improving my habits or how I spend my days? And maybe through that, I can actually improve the whole system and improve my life in general. By the way, if at any point you wanted to adjust your weekly reviews and the questions that you ask yourself, all you need to do is to come here, click these three dots and click on edit. Then this is in the edit mode. Make sure not to change the filters on these databases because they are set as self-referential filters again, and they automatically actually sort everything for you and pull all the data in. But you can always come down here and change these questions, and every time then you do a weekly review, these things will automatically show up for you. So that's about the actual template. But what we actually do in the weekly reviews is not just filling up this template. There's also some other stuff that we need to complete. But for that, we need to first understand what properties does this table have. So first things first that we need to look at is actually creating the week number. The week number is again very simple. The rule of thumb for me is calendar week, then the number of the week, then dash the year. So let's say I just fill up an example for calendar week 38, which is next week. But for the sake of this example, we can just go with it. First things I will do is I will write calendar week 38 2021. Obviously, that's for next week. Then I will open it and I will generate a new week review for it. This will already populate the template over time for me. Now I can go back and actually fill up the properties. So first thing, I'm going to actually set the date period. So the date period is actually going to be from next Monday until the Sunday after that. So it's from Monday the 20th, and I click on end date, and then I click on Sunday the 26th. So clearly, if you also look at your previous week, you can also see this. So from 13th of September to 19th is calendar week 37. From 20th of September to 26th of September is calendar week 38. If at any point you're confused and you're not really sure what calendar week we're in right now, you can always come to Google Calendar and then look at the actual week calendar number that you can see here. You can also always Google it. This is not so hard to do. The next property is actually the related field for the daily routines. As this is for calendar week 38, I haven't actually created the days for it yet, because the way we create the days is every week on our weekly reviews, we do three main things. Number one, we create the next weekly review in our weekly reviews database as a new entry. Number two, we create the following 7 days for our daily routine, and then we connect those 7 days to the weekly review that we just created so that this is ready for our next week. Number three, we do the weekly review that we created the previous week and complete the template and the 5 steps that I just showed you, so that we know what we did previously, and for the next week, everything is set up and ready to go for us. So for example, in this example of calendar week 37 and 38, I've created the days for calendar week 37, which is from the 13th of September to the 19th of September. And by the way, when I'm shooting this is the 14th of September. So we're still in this calendar week. So it doesn't make sense for me to go and create the daily routines for the calendar week that is not even here yet. And I've also not finished this week yet. So I can't actually reflect on this week just yet. So what I need to do instead is to, for example, pick 2 weeks that I've already done before. Let's go for calendar week 31 and 32 here. As you see, calendar week 31 was from August 2nd to August 8th. Calendar week 32 was August 9th to August 15th. The daily routines here is nothing more than a list of the days that I've created in the other place. So what I'll do is actually remove all of this to show you how it's going to be done. All I need to do is to click here and type calendar week 32, and I can see all the days show up. So it starts with Monday. I click on Monday, then I click on Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. So everything is going to be there and linked together. That's all I need to do. Afterwards, let's say I now go and actually do my weekly review for calendar week 32. And at the end, I get some thoughts and ideas from it. And now I can actually rate my whole week. I can give my week a rating of, let's say it's only 3-star or 4-star, whatever. And then I can write some thoughts on the week, why my week was only 3 stars, 1 star, 2 stars, just like the daily routine. Also, we have the week progress here, just for the sake of showing us how much of the week is actually left. So for example, for this week is actually 16% complete. So as you see, the properties are not that complicated. There's the name of the week, there's the day period, which you can set. There's the daily routines that we just create and connect them together. There's the weekly ratings, thoughts, and the week progress, nothing else. By the way, if you're wondering why I have some NAs or not applicable daily routines here, is because I actually took these 3 weeks on holiday. So I was on holiday and I didn't want to complete all these daily routines and weekly routines and stuff. So this is just there to actually say that I didn't do any specific tracking, nothing special. So at this point, the only thing that's probably going to be a problem for you to do this on your own is that you don't have these days ready to go. So for example, for calendar week 38, I don't have any entries here. So I have to go and create those entries. And the way we do that is this. We first open up our daily routine. We go to the active days, and then all we need to do is to follow the same pattern that we did before. So I go day, Monday. Now obviously it's going to be calendar week 38, and that's it. All I need to do is to set it to the correct date, which is the 20th, and I'm good to go. Then I can duplicate and just change the name to Tuesday, for example, and set the date to the 21st. I can continue doing this, change the date to Wednesday, for example, and actually set the date now to the 22nd, right? So these days are the daily routines for the future week. And also the next thing I need to do is to then connect these to the weekly reviews, which you can do either from here by clicking here and putting calendar week 38 and then clicking that. And it's already linked. So you can see if it's linked here, it would also be linked here. As you can see, it's also showing up here. Or you can click here and put 38 and then just click them all together, which is much faster. This way, the days are already linked. And if I go into my database of reviewing how I spend my days, you see those days are already pulled in here and filtered for me automatically. So the only thing that's remaining now is the weekly habits and how actually our weekly habits relate to our daily routine. Our weekly habits are actually super simple as well. Just like how we go and create days in our daily routine database, we have to come here and create days for our habits and then relate our habits to our daily routine, not our weekly reviews. Only our daily tracker connects to our weekly reviews. Everything else connects to our daily routine. So it's habits, tasks, and so on and so forth connecting to the daily routine, and then the daily routine connects to the weekly reviews. So basically, if I want to now come and create the days for calendar week 38, all I need to do is to basically duplicate this, call it, let's say, Sunday, calendar week 38, 2021. My habits are already there. If you have more habits, you can always click here and put it as a checkbox and call it, let's say, new habit, and so on and so forth. Also, in this table, we can see our overall percentage completion of our habits. It will give you a very good idea as to how much of your time are you actually spending and doing those habits. Next thing is to just connect it. So we have habits of Monday, calendar week 38, 2021. And then all I need to do is to write calendar week 38 here and then connect it to this Monday. The related week, the date, and everything automatically gets populated. And if, let's say, on that specific day, I complete all my habits here, I can come to my weekly reviews, and this is all automatically done, by the way. In my weekly reviews for my calendar week 38, under review your habits, I will see everything already showing up. You see the habit of Monday, 38, 2021 with all my habits completed, which I just created, is already moved here automatically for me, and I can actually review it the way I want. So yeah, this is super, super powerful. The way these weekly reviews work is that every Sunday, you know exactly what you did the previous week, how you spend your days, what tasks did you complete, what did you capture your knowledge of, and you can reflect and use that as a feedback loop to improve your life, improve your efficiency, and improve your system. Also create the dates for your next week, so you have the plan for the week that's upcoming, and all of your habits and everything else that you want are already created for you and are already there, automatically synced for you. I understand that at first glance it might be a bit daunting to create all these dates and stuff like that, but remember, you're only doing this once every week for 30 minutes. That's it. Creating these days and connecting everything together and actually going through the template and reviewing what you actually did and what you captured and so on and so forth does not take that much effort. I admit this is by far my least favorite part of the system, but that's because of a Notion limitation where we can't actually create new entries in our databases automatically. I'm pretty sure there should be a way to automatically do this using the Notion API that they just released, but let's not get too much into that. I'm actually okay with just spending 30 minutes and doing this tiny bit of chore, because the advantages that this whole system gives you is much stronger than the disadvantages. That's about it. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Make sure to like and subscribe this video as well if you guys are enjoying it. New videos are coming about the Knowledge Hub, which is actually going to be focusing on the whole second brain and the notes first approach, which I know a lot of people like. But yeah, up to this point, the organizational factors of going from our areas to values to goals to projects and tasks, and then integrating into a daily routine, and then reviewing and improving the whole system using our weekly reviews and weekly habits is pretty much done. What we're going to focus on next is our knowledge hub and the content tracker, and finally we'll wrap everything up together. That's about it, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.